Hello friends, it's Kayla. Welcome to the first day of Summerween. Summerween is a week-long readathon that my friend Gabby puts on during July, usually every year, and I'm participating. This is the very first day, but I'm filming it like a week ahead of time because I need to figure out my TBR with you. I've got like 12 books that are all contenders for me to read this week. I'm gonna commit to, I think, 6 because my plan is to vlog 6 of the 7 days. I'll be on vacation for the first 2. Then I'll be traveling home and doing the Literally Dead Book Club on day 3, the live show, and then 3 more days after that. So I think 6 sounds realistic, but I don't know what I want to read. And there are all of these prompts from Summerween that mean I have to like pick things that fit into categories. I also have my own categories. So the non-book specific prompts that I can accomplish with any read is to read a book in the dark and oh no, that's the only one. Well, the second one is to read a thriller or horror, and like everything that I want to read for the readathon is a thriller or horror, so I can check that off easily. There are 3 things that I'm looking for. I need to find a book with a night sky on the cover. I need to read a book with 5 words in the title, and I need to read a book that takes place in the summer. There are ones that seem obvious to me in my stack and ones that I'll just have to figure out. And then for myself, I want to make sure I have a novella, at least one, because I want to read something short that's easy. I mean, this is a marathon of reading, so we're gonna take our shortcuts and do whatever we can to get our books done. With that said, number 2 is to read an audiobook. So I'm going to test out some audiobooks and commit to 1 for the week. The third one is, what was it? Oh, I just want to read something fun. Like, obviously heavy, intense murder crime books is the focus, but I also find that I enjoy the more lighthearted, silly, kind of Finley Donovan-esque mysteries, so I want to have one like that. I feel like of all of the things I have, these 3 fit best into that category. Every Time I Go on Vacation, Someone Dies by Catherine Mack. It looks fun and silly. I know it's about an author who is murdering the main character of her books, and then the real life person it's based on is also in danger. Bless Your Heart by Lindy Ryan, which is like a suburban vampire story. And then I have You May Now Kill the Bride by Kate Weston, which just sounds like it's gonna be a fun, silly time. It has to do with weddings, and I love wedding books. But I also love vampire books, but I also love books about authors. So I think I need to commit to one of them right now. Let's go read the first chapter of these 3. Okay, I read the first 15 pages of Bless Your Heart. It opened with like that really typical prologue that feels like a horror movie where there's this man encountering something terrifying and he has to kill this like beast. And then it jumps to these women who are running a funeral parlor and like the judgment from other people that this is what they're doing with their lives. And they're like literally fiddling with a corpse and like making her pretty while like other people are just around and chatting. There was a lot of gossip. It seems like Desperate Housewives vibes, and I think it could be a good time. I'm gonna give it like a 7 out of 10. There was a little ominous moment at the end of the first chapter that said like, is the body moving? Like, is the person actually dead? They were like, oh, she looks so alive. I am intrigued. I don't know if I love the writing. You May Now Kill the Bride, I'm giving a 6. It is just a very frenemy type story. I think it will be good because I love like bachelorette parties and like all of the girls getting together, but it is very like high gossip, and I think just like everybody in the story is pretending to like each other. Could be a dynamic that I like, but it didn't completely pull me in. All of the girls are headed to Tansy's bachelorette in like the woods, and they're like talking about how she's marrying her husband so quickly. Is he the right guy? And then at one point the bride-to-be is gonna die, and all of these friends, there's like 5 of them, are going to have to figure out who did it. But this is my winner. Every Time I Go on Vacation, Someone Dies. I thought it was gonna be like another friendship group, but I think this is just to indicate the people who are reading the book, that this author has such a large audience. And it talked about her starting her publishing journey, how she was like on this vacation, met this guy, and they solved some mysteries together over the summer. And then she went on and had to write it down because it was such a fascinating story, turned it into a novel, and used the real guy's first name. And that guy got mad, and now like he makes money off of her books. He's like trying to affect the books, and she wants to kill him off. But before she can do that, in the book, the real life guy comes to her and he's like, somebody's after me, someone's trying to kill me. I'm giving this one a 9, and I'm picking it because it's set in the summertime. So it fits with my goal of having like a fun pick and the Summerween goal of having something set in summer. Now let's figure out the night sky one. These all have the darkness in the background and they're all thrillers. Naturally, I want to read Middle of the Night by Riley Sager for this video. I want to read it immediately. I want to read it for the readathon. But it's also my book club pick for July and the live show isn't until August. So I just feel like posting a video of my review a whole month before the live show is not what I typically do, but I know everyone would be excited to hear my thoughts on this, so that's a struggle. Then I have The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley. I don't really remember what this one's about. It's like a weekend getaway. I have The Night of the Storm by Nishita Parekh, which is about a family escaping a hurricane together and being stuck in a house when somebody dies. And I already read the first chapter of this in reading the first chapter of all the books that I'm considering for the Literally Dead book club, and this got a 7. Suffice to say, I didn't pick it, but I haven't read the first chapter of either of these. So as long as either one of them gets higher than a 7, this will be the pick. But we'll have to see. That was unexpected. None of these first chapters really did anything for me. I still want to read all of the books, but yeah, they're not grabbing my attention. This one was basically the synopsis. There's a guy who his best friend went missing when they were kids, and the first section, like a little prologue, was that experience. It was like, he was in a tent, he woke up, he looked outside, he was alone. Really quite boring actually. And then the first chapter was him and as an adult, and he was just saying he felt a presence. It was really familiar, but he hasn't felt it in 30 years. Is it Billy? Obviously, I'm still excited to read it. Like, the first chapter doesn't indicate how I'm gonna feel about the book, but I don't feel super motivated to pick it up now. Same is true with The Midnight Feast. It is about this new manor that's opening, and the woman putting it on is named Francesca, and we only followed one POV, obviously, because it was only the first chapter, and I think there's going to be a bunch because that's typically how Lucy Foley's books are written. So bouncing around is going to be fun, but just that first chapter, it was like she was arriving, she was describing the place, how it's opening soon, how she's getting her first look, and it's like woodland and forest and cute and quirky. And then a bunch of locals showed up and they were mad that this place was opening because they don't own the land or whatever. It's kind of boring. This one was equally boring, just about a woman going to a grocery store and really stocking up on stuff and then deciding to go stay at her family's house for the hurricane. Nothing very inspiring here. Now, these 3 all have 5 words in the title, so that would fit for that prompt. 2 of them are short books, so I'd be happy with either of these. But I also want to read this because I have the live show coming up on day 3 of Summerween, and I'll be posting my day 1 and 2 vlog on the 3rd day of Summerween. So that just feels like it meshes really well. I obviously have to read this really soon, so that's pulling me towards it. But this one is short. That was You Know What You Did by KT Nguyen. This is Pour One for the Devil by Theodore C. Van Alst Jr., and it's a gothic novella. Don't really remember what it's about. And this one is a short story collection by Eric LaRocca called The Skin Was Once Mine, and reading a short story a day is really conducive to a readathon. These ones are difficult. This one, like I said, already read the first chapter, gave it an 8 at the time, and I don't remember a lot that happened in here, but there was a little prologue where the main character like was with her mother. Her mother was dying and she like thinks that she's responsible. And then in the first chapter, it was just a lot of like dynamics between this family, and it was 10 pages, but it did really intrigue me and I'm excited to read it. Obviously, I picked it for my book club. These 2 are difficult because there weren't distinct chapters. One of them is a short story collection. This one is a novella that I ended up reading the first 10 pages, and it's kind of like chapters. I don't know, but there's this man who arrives at this house. You can see it here. Can you see it? And he's been asked to come there because he has these like, I don't really get it. The Kusa shell rings ancestral sites of power. Sites of power. I'm trying to figure out if it means like a physical ring, and she has rings in her possession and wants him to come like look at them. So he shows up at this manor, and I'm just very intrigued. I love a gothic story because a lot of it is about like the location, and it's about setting the scene and feeling very ominous and like arriving at the place. I really liked how that started, but I feel like I didn't read, like nothing actually happened. Same with this one, The Skin Was Once Mine, because the first story is 100 pages and there's not chapters in here. So I ended up reading the first couple entries of this little journal. In the first one, this woman is listening to a tape teaching her how to like not be anxious and how to talk to people. And she ends up like stabbing her hand with a pen. She's angry. I don't know. And then the story says it's about a woman grieving the man that she idolized, her father, while getting to know him and like find out his secrets. And I like Eric LaRocca's writing. So like I want to pick this, but I also feel like I didn't get that far into it. So now I kind of want to just read all three of them. And now we're left with the wild cards. I want to read Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay. I feel like regardless of how this first chapter is going to go, I'm going to commit to it, but it doesn't really fit into any category except for like reading a thriller or mystery or horror. And since horror is in the title, that works for that. Could we call this A Night Sky? I don't know. I also grabbed the Antique Hunter's Guide to Murder by C.L. Miller from the library a couple weeks ago. And I don't really know what it's about besides the title. So I just thought I'd read the first chapter and see what I think. And then I also have Woodworm by Layla Martinez, which I feel like should be my novella pick. It is short. It sounds weird. It's a book about a house and the people that are trapped in it. And then lastly, I have Incidents Around the House by Josh Mallerman, which I don't have a physical copy of because it's not quite out yet. Or I think today is the release day, but it's not at my local bookstore, but the audiobook should be out. So I will check that out. It's about like a haunted little girl or little boy and someone in their family they call Other Mother. It's like this ghosty presence, I guess. So let's get into those four. I got my first 10 out of 10 with Woodworm. This is like a literary horror ghosty witch question mark story. There are two women, a grandmother and a granddaughter, who are like trapped in this house, and the house consumes bodies maybe. And I'm wondering if the grandmother's even alive, because the first chapter, which was 24 pages, she like had to take her grandmother, drag her across the house, put her behind a door, and then her grandmother like woke up, but then she described her as just being a skin sack with nothing underneath. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I like it. And I guess these two are gonna get revenge on the younger one's father, the grandmother's son, because he did something, like he created the house or he brought a curse into the house or something. And what kicks off the mystery, or like the secret of the book, is that there is a young boy who went missing. She was responsible for taking care of him for some reason, and he vanished, and people suspect that she had something to do with it, obviously. It was just really interesting, really intriguing. Her mother's also missing. There is no quotation marks, so the dialogue is just like right inside of paragraphs. And I liked that a lot. I don't know if it's the most thrilling mystery horror. It seems a little more just about a family drama, but obviously there's some weirdness. So this is definitely going on my TBR. Now the other three, I decided this is what I was gonna do for the audiobook. So I checked out the audiobook of all three of these. Two of them were awful. Like, I'm sure maybe the story is good, but the narration, I could not stand either one. This one is like a child, and I don't know if that's gonna run through the entire story, but it's like unlistenable, especially if you speed it up, which I listened to audiobooks on 2 times because that's how fast I would read with my eyes. And this one just like had a very high-pitched accented voice that did not work for me. The story of this one is Freya, and she had an antique dealer as her like mentor, was teaching her about stuff, and she lives in this house, and he just died, and so now she's gonna lose the house, and I don't really know why I even have that. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why I reserved it. I can't recall. And then Incidents Around the House, just we met this young child and they were eating dinner and the mother was telling them to eat. And then after dinner, they went and met with Other Mother, and Other Mother was like, can I go inside your heart? And that was it. So a little ominous first chapter, but didn't really do a lot for me, and I would prefer to read it physically, and I don't want to go buy any more books right now. So I am committing to Horror Movie, which I actually like the audiobook. I prefer it to the physical reading experience because there is sound effects. There's a sound effect of somebody like turning a page, and they were reading like a little script for this movie, and it was all very well acted. There's lots of voice actors, so I think I'm gonna like this. Basically, there's this guy who participated in this horror film, and everyone else from the cast has like died. In the first chapter, he was meeting with the other people who were talking about the movie, they were like, oh yeah, my sister's cousin definitely worked on that movie. And he was like, no, he didn't. Like, no, she didn't. Stop lying. I was there. So he's very protective over his experience, but other people like want to lay claim to it. The script had set direction and like camera angles and was talking about how it's actually been filmed. And it's just gonna be, I think, a very good time. So this is officially a yes. So the results of that first chapter had some good things happening. I feel good about this one. So we've got our summer book. I feel good about this one, which is my horror book. I feel good about this one, which is the 5 letters, 5 words. And I feel very good about this one, which is a novella just for me. Now these two I don't feel super confident about, and if I do fit them in, they're gonna be like extra bonus novellas that I just slip into the video. I think I'm gonna read the first chapter of 2 more things because there are a couple new releases. One is the new Ruth Ware, and I kind of want to have something new and exciting for a thriller that people are really like into or would want to know my thoughts on during Summerween. And like Ruth Ware has been all across the board for me. We've picked her quite a few times for the book club, and I decided not to anymore because her books just aren't like as beloved by everybody as much as I would like. And this one has gotten such high ratings that I just want to pick it up. And then the other one on my radar was something that I added to a most anticipated, like talked about the synopsis when it came out and the cover. And I think I got a lot of people hyped for. And then now a bunch of those people have read it and they're telling me that I need to. And it's called Craft, like Stories I Wrote for the Devil or something like that. So one more round of first chapters. Okay, I am indeed hooked by One Perfect Couple. We have a married couple and the man is very much chasing like fame, and she's been paying all the bills and she's been supporting his dream while he goes and films for pilots and goes to auditions and tries to become a household name. And she feels like the only adult in this relationship, but they're obviously like in love and happy. And he tells her that there's this reality show filming and they're bringing 5 couples to a desert island for 10 weeks. And so he can't do it without her, and he feels like this could be his big break. By the end of the first chapter, she agrees to go. And I'm just wondering like what this reality show is. Is it gonna be to test their like love? Because a lot of it, I don't watch reality TV. There's only one that I watch, The Challenge. I imagine like most of them are like dating, right? They're about like bringing people and coupling them up. So what's this one gonna be about? I guess there are ones like The Amazing Race where you come in as an established couple to compete. So yeah, I just want to know what the competition is going to be like. I want to know what the filming of the show is going to be like. I like that type of idea. Like, I don't want to follow celebrities. And yes, this guy wants to be famous, but it's not about like celebrity culture. It's more about like the making of a show. And I can think of books that I've picked up like that, and a lot of them, I don't think I found a 5-star, and I don't know if this one would be that for me, but I am intrigued. The other one, Craft Stories I Wrote for the Devil, is shorter than I thought, and it's kind of like a short story collection, and I think I might actually save it instead. I really liked the opening. The language is beautiful and it's clearly by like a poet. I might save it for the next time I want to fill out something for this bingo board, because it would fit for like mixed media and various other things. There's this woman and she meets the devil at a Halloween party in 1999, and she spends time telling him stories and writing stories for him. And it is a short story collection, but also it's about like her experience, like her life experience and her writing journey in between the stories, I guess. And I really liked the opening, but I don't think it's like the perfect vibe for this readathon. The great news is I realized that this cover has the night sky on it. If you zoom in, it is the beach at night. So I have found a night sky and I didn't even realize. So now I don't have to try to pretend and ask you in a poll if we could consider these the night sky or not, because I've got it somewhere else. And with that, I have 3 full-length mystery thriller books to read, a relatively short horror book, a short story collection to split amongst the days, and then 2 gothic novellas that should be quick reads. This is the TBR I'm committing to. I feel like there were prettier options as far as a color stack. I hope nothing disappointed you. And if there's anything that you would recommend that like recently came out or something you feel like I missed out on that you were really anticipating me reading sometime soon or for this readathon, let me know, because I'm putting this out on the very first day and there's still plenty of time for me to adjust my TBR. But I am actively excited about all of these reads. So thank you so much for joining me for day 1 of Summerween. The actual day 1 of Summerween will be in a 1 and 2 day vlog. On day 3 is when you'll see it. And I'm now headed out on vacation, so I'll see you soon with my first vlog. Bye!